In this video, I'm going to be talking through some tips and tricks and just different thought processes that I go through and have been thinking about while I'm being a 7-figure funded trader. So first things first, I do have 20 of the 50K Apex accounts. That is equal to $1 million in funding currently. How and why did I pick 20 50K accounts? And that's kind of what I want to talk about right now, is the different options of going with multiple accounts versus one big account. Right now they're doing 90% off with code TBM. You get 90% off. And so kind of talking through, if you are wanting to take the jump into prop firm world, you know, is it worth it to do multiple accounts? Is it worth it to just do one bigger account so you don't have to worry about the other ones? Why would you even do multiple accounts? Let me just use an example from today, first off, on why I like 20 50K accounts. And it is because of this. I had one single trade this morning. It was a very quick scalp. It was a 1.5-minute long trade. It was worth 13 points on the Nasdaq. That is $260, as you can see here. And I trade copied this. So this is on one account, but I trade copied it on all 20. Sierra Chart has a built-in trade copier. It's really simple and easy to use. And I did it on my live stream. And so when you do this multiplication times 20, as you can see on my R Trader, you can see that I have $261 all the way down. There was a little bit of slippage here, one tick on these last two. But when we do $260 times 20, so it was that one trade that was just copied out 20 times, it's $5,200. Okay, so that one trade that was a 1.5 minutes long netted me $5,200, just a little bit shy, I guess, because of these two that were about $5 off. So just under $5,200. And now, I'm not suggesting that everybody should copy accounts, but it is a very powerful tool. And you might say, well, why not just use one big account and use 20 contracts on it? One, there's a mental shift for me that is simpler to use one contract and just not even worry about it copying trading. It's just easier for me to use. However, there's some other things and strategies that I want to talk about here real quick. So first thing, let's talk about withdrawals on Apex. Withdrawals on the 300K, you get $3,500 twice a month. Okay, so that's $7,000 a month if you are maxing your withdrawal on the 300K account. On the 50K account, you're maxing your withdrawal at $2,000 twice a month, which is $4,000 a month, right? Now, for the sake of math, I'm just going to talk about it as one withdrawal period because we're about to get crazy with the math here. You see here, each account is considered a separate standalone account. So the big thing here is that it is advantageous to have multiple accounts, okay? Just plain and simple. When I have 20 50K accounts, I'm able to multiply this times 20 every withdrawal period. So instead of $2,000, right, every 10 days or whatever it is, I can actually do 2,000 times 20, right, which is $40,000. So that is a max withdrawal of $40,000 twice a month, $80,000 a month, right? So $40,000 twice a month for the first 3 months, as opposed to $3,500 for one account twice a month, $7,000, right? So it's in your best interest to be able to trade smaller accounts and more of them because of the way that it scales with the withdrawals. And I hope that makes sense. That being said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with not wanting to trade copy and just trade a bigger account, but you are limited on the withdrawals as opposed to trading a couple of the smaller ones, right? So right now, for instance, with the 90% off, a 50K account is like 17 bucks. I think 19 after tax. And the 300K account is like 65 bucks. And so even then, if you're going to use dollar for dollar, same amount going into each one, it's better to spend the money on 3 50K accounts than one 300K account, because you will be able to withdraw $12,000 a month as opposed to $7,000 a month. So that is the basic generic math there. Not to mention, it's almost arguably easier to get funded on the 50K. And why, might you ask, Matt? Well, it's because of the way the profit and the trailing goal works. It's $3,000 to $2,500 of trailing threshold. So it's almost a 1-to-1. And if we scroll over here to the 300K, it becomes $20,000 to $7,500. And so again, this is almost 3-to-1. You're almost needing to make 3 times the profit to trailing threshold that you have, as opposed to on the 50K, almost being dead even. And so I found it easier to pass the 50K and to trade copy the 50K, and you get more withdrawals than trading the 300K, for instance. It's also cheaper. So that is some like very basic like math, quite literal math on why I'm doing the 50K. over the 300K funded accounts. I know plenty of people out there want the 300Ks, and that's awesome, especially if you really only want one account. But if you are open to trade copying, which again with Sierra Chart, it's built in, it's very simple and easy to use. It works really well. I know that some of the other platforms that might not work as well, Tradeify, for instance, it might not work as well, which is, needs to be taken into consideration. But if you are using Sierra Chart and it works really well, it's almost a no-brainer to just do the 50Ks. And I'm not suggesting copy trading 20 of them, but if you can pass one and maybe you copy trade 3 to 5 or 10 or whatever it is, your withdrawals will be bigger. Potentially, you have the ability to withdraw more than you would with the 300K. So next level of strategy is actually in regards to how much should I be making every day, right? So if I know that my withdrawal is $2,000 per account, I need to trade once every 10 days or once every day for 10 days in order to take a withdrawal, then I know I should be hitting around $200, maybe a little bit more in order to get the full effort of those withdrawals. So my goal is literally make 10 to 15 points every day on these accounts and call it a day from there and do not trade anymore. So 10 to 15 points, for instance, today, 13 points, allows me to get up to that $2,000 mark per account, which is a full withdrawal every 10 days. That's the goal. It's very simple when you really kind of think about it that way. It's honestly mind-blowing when it really clicked for me that I really just need to shoot for 10 to 15 points and then be done. I don't need to trade anything else on my Apex accounts. I can move over to a personal account or another prop or something like that, but I really do not need to overtrade on these accounts. It seems too simple to just be trading 10 to 15 points and it end up working out to be $5,000 days like today, for instance. But it really is just that is the way it is. And so really striking, base hits and not getting overcomplicated with how much you're trying to make is a massive strategy tip. Obviously, everybody's got different ways of trading. Some people really dislike the trailing threshold. Some people don't mind it. I will say if you are doing Apex for the first time, you really got to learn how to take profit. That is a big thing with the trailing threshold. That being said, on the PA accounts, once you're funded and you get your trailing threshold up to your balance plus $100, then the trailing threshold stops. So as you make more money, that trailing threshold is no longer an issue. And it's something that is a good thing, right? There is no trailing threshold at that point. There's no daily loss or anything like that. So just, again, hit those base hits and don't get overzealous and oversold on one position and let it go all the way back down on you. That's how you lose accounts with trailing thresholds. So just take profit, take those base hits, and you'll be okay. So yeah, hopefully this video was pretty enlightening to you. I know that it's been a crazy whirlwind of realizations for me, and I just kind of wanted to impart those on you as well, of the power of multiple accounts and the power of base hits on multiple accounts. Really kind of extrapolates it out. Today's a great example. $260 turns into $5,200 pretty quickly and very simply with using the trade copier on Sierra Chart. So excited for today. Hopefully, you dive into the world of prop firms to mitigate some risk and maybe even trade copying some accounts. Again, it's all up to you on what size account you want to do and things like that. But I'm just trying to lay some information out there for you that's hopefully quick and easy to understand. Again, code TBM, if you go to tbm.gg/apex, will get you 90% off right now on any and all of the accounts that you pick. So if you do want to trade copy 20 accounts, for instance, you can use TBM every single time and get 90% off on every single one of those 50K accounts. I'll see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Have a good one.